All right. Hi, everybody. Sarah Zalecki. Guys, welcome to another Elites on the Rise. Super excited as we're just a week out from the Orlando Regional, which is exciting. So I can't wait to get a chance to say hi and love on you guys. And oh my gosh, it's going to be awesome. So, guys, what I want to do is I don't want to hang out too long because I'm super excited. I too have my notebook ready. If you guys don't have your notebook, get it out. But I think most of you guys know, gosh, 90% of this business is full of women. And I am super, super excited to have an amazing elite, Marc MacDonald, amazing Canadian, sits on the advisory board of Modere, doing great, great things in Atlantic Canada. I love him because for those of you that don't know, Marc and I and Tony, we've actually known each other for a little over 10 years. And this guy knows business. He is very successful in his careers. He'll tell you a little bit about his background, but he's just one of those guys that just understands business. And he also has a very unique perspective to it. And so I know how a lot of times us girls are when it comes to running a business. We are good, but we're also a little bit emotional, which is also not a bad thing, but I'll tell you, can sometimes get us a little squirrely. And so I'm really excited. He actually did a training that I had a chance to learn from him, and he shared just some incredible things that I just said, Marc, listen, when it's your time to get a chance to share in the Elites on the Rise, would you please cover these things because they were so powerful for me, right? Was that a mosquito? Was that a mosquito, Marc?
Yeah.
And so that's hilarious. And so I asked him, I'm like, Marc, you've got to share this with these guys. So I'm excited, guys, because he's kind of, besides some of our, elites at our husband and wife team, he's kind of the Lone Ranger. But he's no dummy. He recruits rock star women and brings them into the business. And he's very, very savvy when it comes to that. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pass this call over to Elite Social Marketer, Marc MacDonald.
Thank you. So I don't know if you guys saw that, but the fly was flying around and Sarah was starting the video and I was like, this is going to get me all the presentation, and it landed on my arm and I got it. So that was a positive right there. Still got reflexes. Sarah has actually invited me on this call numerous times, but my schedule never ever worked for certain reasons. So I'm excited to be here, and I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to let me, have a few words to say to all the people that are in Modere, different lines of business, but all working towards the same common goal. And you're right, this business is dominated by women. I'm not complaining. And I've been happily involved in Modere for a lot of years, been a part of this profession for, off and on for over a decade. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of things about myself, but I've also learned a lot about business, and to really have conversations with people about what it is we do. And so it just so happened the other day that Sarah was doing a getting started training with some of the people we were launching in Atlantic Canada. And she asked me if I had any comments at the end. And I kind of went on a little rant, unbeknownst to me. So no two snowflakes are the same, and neither will that presentation, but I'll do my best. As many of you guys know, we live in a little tiny island. So I live in Prince Edward Island. Most people know it by Anne of Green Gables, and Cow's Ice Cream. But we're here in just north of Nova Scotia, and we just got pummeled by a hurricane. So for anybody that follows the news and follows the hurricane, we just got a Category 2 came right over the top of us, Hurricane Dorian. So a shout out to all of our friends and family that are in Modere, that are in Halifax, still without power, can't be on these calls. Lots of great directors and above that are, I know they've messaged me today and they can't make it for different reasons. But with adversity, I wanted to make sure I was here. I committed to this a couple of months ago. I'm hard to get onto these calls, so I said I'm going to do it. And I wanted to have a real conversation with people that are here. If you've reached the level of director in this business and above, then you've put some effort in, because by far getting the director to me is the hardest rank. It's the hardest one to overcome to get some momentum. And then as you start to get some building blocks, you can grow from that. And a lot of people, once you reach director, you start to get a little bit of a group of people that rely on you. And then that's where things start to go haywire. And trust me, I've been there. I got into what you call management mode a lot too early in my life in these business. And, if some of my experiences can help you guys as you grow your business, then that's why I hope you take from this. So here's what I will tell you. You have to understand the business that you're in. So a lot of people are great at motivation, and a lot of people are great at, getting people together and inspiring them and teaching them how to be influenced. That's where, I love watching Tony and Sarah. They have their niche, and their niche is to teach people how to be, more impactful, how to be more omnipresent, how to have influence. And that's just not me. That's not my way of doing things. I just never been that type of person. I'm trying to learn from them and apply that to our business in little tiny stepping stones. What I've realized over the last decade is that, I was good at leading people to understand the business behind why we do certain things. And I can tell you that I wouldn't have joined Modere to become a part of its team if I didn't want to make profit. And I think a lot of times we get in the business and we start to have these conversations about what you want from it, and you start to dream and you start to build your vision boards, and you have all these aspirations to earn more money and have more free time and walk away from the scenarios or situations you're currently living in. And then nobody wants to talk about business because it's too hard, or it's too harsh, or it's not all endearing and loving, and you're supposed to make it fun. But at the end of the day, let's be honest, we're in this to make a profit so we can live that lifestyle. And I just really started to embrace that conversation and to have that with the people that are working in the business, to make sure they truly understood what it is we do from a director to elite. So if you really want elite business, which this call is, elite on the rise, then you have to rise to the occasion and say, do I really want to be in business, or do I just want to be a part of the culture, order some product, make some secondary income, or do I really truly want to be a business owner? Do I really want to be what everybody talks about in terms of my own boss? Because it's hard to be your own boss. It's hard to be independent. It's hard to lead other people when they're volunteering their time to be a part of your organization. So one of the things that I did was I got really good at teaching people at the very beginning the business that they're in. And I hear these concepts all the time as, I'm in multi-level marketing, I'm in network marketing. And I believe that may be the industry you're associated with. My background, I'm in healthcare. I'm a healthcare professional. I'm a physiotherapist by profession, but I'm a business owner. So yes, I know I went to university for 8 years. I learned all about the human body. I learned different conditions and how to treat them. We practiced for 20 years. But when I stop practicing at the end of the day, I have to then still balance the books, make sure we had enough profit, see if we got enough money to pay the staff, the buildings. I have to actually put on a business hat and say, is this worth it for us? So I had to learn skills about business, and I didn't go into university to be a business person. I went in to be a healthcare professional. So I kind of learned that there's a lot of parallels, that they didn't teach us in healthcare how to be good business owners, and they don't teach us in network marketing a lot of times how to be great business owners. They teach us how to be great marketers and how to be great influencers and how to be great networkers, but not necessarily how to run a great successful business and do that. So that's really where I fit into this picture for tonight's conversation, was helping you guys understand the business you're in and the profession you're in, and how they interrelate and correlate. So I don't know if you guys go to grocery stores. I'm sure we always do. And not everybody's ordering the groceries online today. We still go in there and fill the cart. And you have to understand a lot of those big chains. So if you're in the United States, we used to go to Publix. No, it was Publix, but for 2 years, we called it Publix. But we go to Publix. Here in Canada, we call it Sobeys. And we go in and we buy in other people's products. So we'll, craft peanut butter. We might buy Pepsi. We'll get different Whole Foods and all these things. And it dawned on me one day that, these businesses are distributing other people's products. And the reason why they're making so much money and all these owners and these companies are doing so well is because they understood that they're in the distribution business. Their job is to bring people into their store and give them an experience and distribute somebody else's products they're manufacturing. And when I started to get involved in this business years ago, I used to think I was in network marketing. Right? I was just, okay, just because I signed this application, I'm in network marketing, I should make all kinds of money because I'm hugging people at events. And that's just not the truth. The truth is, unless a product is leaving Modere's headquarters, shipping to somebody else's house with your referral code somewhere interconnected, you're not getting paid, right? And so a lot of people, the stories I used to hear, that they tried it for 2 years and they didn't make any money, and they did all these different things. They went to all the events, they did all the stuff. They weren't really making a whole lot of money. And the reason why is they didn't understand that the business is distribution. And what made Modere so special to me 3 years ago was we're in a bit of a revolution right now. So distribution has changed the way it's happening, from a wholesale model to from a retail model to now an online social retail model. And I wanted to be a part of that. I really wanted to use the internet to create a product distribution for our family, to create a network of consumers that would pay us for years and years to come. So I kind of really wanted to always be a part of it. And I was just so blessed to see it happen here at Modere. And I wanted, to come into the business and see what we can do. So once you understand that the business you're in is distribution, how do you still make it fun? How do you still make it exciting? How do you still build an organization of people that want to do this with you? And how do you get people to the next level of the business where it starts to, be beneficial for them? They start to earn. And that's when you kind of learn the skill of launching people, right? There's a lot of people get in, but not a lot of people launch. A lot of people get in and learn and learn and learn, and they do all these great things, but they never get a group of people behind them that just push them up and take them and just fire them in the air and launch. And I kind of learned that, success loves speed and speed loves simplicity. And a lot of times we get in this business and we follow a whole bunch of different people and we end up on all different types of tracks, and then it doesn't become simple to the new person anymore, right? And we just get a little bit overwhelmed, and then we get second guessing what we should say and second guessing who we should talk to. And then all of a sudden, once it gets complicated and complex, we no longer have the same momentum and the excitement to go there. So we kill our own speed, we kill our own excitement. And so one of the hardest things is to maintain that level of excitement the whole way through as you rise to elite, right? And that the best way to do that is to bring on somebody new and feed off of their excitement. And it happens all the time. So if you can find success, you can find it by creating excitement in a group of people and create some speed behind that with a very simple system of helping people just get customers and helping people just share the vision of what they want from this business, help them craft their story. And then you'll be able to generate some multiplication, and I was kind of joking around with Sarah and then the other day when we talk and so much emphasis on duplication when really the key word is multiplication. 1 + 1 = 11 in this business. And it's so true that if you get involved in this business and you personally order product monthly, you create 10 customers, you have 11 people. If one of your new person creates 10 new customers, you have 11 new people. That's multiplication. And then that creates excitement. Okay. So that's really the conversation that I wanted to have with people, is that if you truly want to earn a six-figure business, build a six-figure business and earn from that, then you have to start building a strategy around where's the profit coming from, and a strategy around business concept. If you just want to earn $500 or $600 a month, you can create customers, and the compensation plan will kind of just do that for you. But if you really want to build something stable, long-term that you can then build a platform from, you have to build business. So in our healthcare practice, if I can, maybe share some parallels, is we started out, an ironic story, but it was 10 years ago today. And I was sitting down preparing for this, and I was, my wife and I were chatting, but on September 9th, 2009, 999, that's why everybody wonders why my favorite number is 9. But on September 9th, 2009, my wife and I submitted our resignation letters to the hospitals we worked for all those years. Now, we had 2 government jobs, full pensions. We worked Monday to Friday. We had flex time, free time, 4 weeks vacation. We had a 3-month-old and an 18-month-old. And we submitted 2 letters of resignation to go start our healthcare practice in a completely different province that we weren't from. So we had tons of fear, right? And we had no idea what we were going to do, but we knew we had to come over here and launch it, because if we didn't do it then, I don't know if we would have ever done it. And today marks 10 years to the date. And we wrote a formula on a piece of paper called M9 = F45. And it was our beacon. I'm going to tell you, if you want a beacon, you have to create something you're trying to chase in your life with Modere in this business. But we gave ourselves 10 years, 1 decade. And that means 9 years of building a business to see if we could create lifestyle freedom in that period of time, independence. And we were looking back and we kind of joke, but 5-year increments is a long time. I can't even believe it was 10 years ago. I feel like I never really ever lived in Florida before, other than the hurricanes reminded me of it this year. But, where are you going to be in 5-year increments? So if you're truly serious about your business, if you want to be elite in a certain period of time, but really it comes down to what size business, what size influence, what size impact do you want in a 5-year increment, in a 10-year increment, and then slowly work backwards. And that's what we did in our healthcare business. Is also what we do in our Modere business. And we kind of put numbers to it. And then what you have to do is you really have to have a couple of guiding principles and some laws. Okay. So I really want you to understand that laws aren't arbitrary, and they're kind of boring. They're dry. They're not inspirational. They're not fun to talk about, but they're truth. And the reality is, if I stood on top of a skyscraper and I dropped this massive rock off the skyscraper, it's going to hit the ground. That's a fundamental law of gravity. It doesn't matter what we do. We can't deny the fact that gravity is going to pull that heavy object down and smash the ground. The other law we always talk about is if you have two cars driving head on and they hit each other, they're going to have an equal and opposite reaction, right? That's a fundamental law. We can't change it. If you hit two things, the impact is going to create a reaction. And, I learned that in business, there's other laws. So inside of our business of networking, distribution, whatever, there's a couple of key laws that you have to understand. They're not arbitrary, they're true. And I'm going to give you a few examples, and I encourage you to write them down and apply them to your business every single day, but also apply them to other aspects of your life. It could be wealth, it could be health, it could be relationship, whatever, because they're fundamental laws. And one is called Parkinson's laws, and not the disease of Parkinson's, but it was actually invented by a guy with the last name Parkinson, a French scientist. And Parkinson's law basically states two things. Boring and dry, I get it, but honestly, if you apply it every single day, it'll create huge transformations in your life. And Parkinson's law makes that we will always expand the time that we allow for work to go in. And I'll simplify that for you, is that if we give ourselves 6 months to go bronze, then we're probably going to go bronze in 6 months. So the work will always expand to the amount of time you allocate to it. So a better example for a lot of directors and elites on here is, why do people go bronze in the 3 days post backdate, but they can't do it for the 31 days before, right? Because work will always expand to the deadline. So if we put a deadline and a hard deadline on something, it's the last 48 to 72 hours. Why can we create this amazing amount of effort? Because it's a fundamental law. And no matter what happens, it's always going to be that way. We're going to have month-end backdates until we're blind, right? Because work will always expand to the amount of time you allot to it. So in university, for example, my wife, she's gone to bed, thankfully, I can speak about it, but we were in the same class. We weren't dating then, we weren't married, but we were in the same class. We would have an assignment due, and 3 weeks in advance, she'd be at the library all the time, organizing the assignment, doing all the stuff, working on it, 2 or 3 hours a day consistently, right? And she would get her grade. And then a lot of us would go there 3 nights before the assignment, spend 8 hours in compressed time frames, and we would get the assignment done in 3 hours, not 3 weeks, and we would get the same grade. Now, we had maybe a little bit more stress, a little bit more compression, but work will always expand to the amount of time you allow for it. So if you're saying to yourself, I'm going to go elite this time next year, you're allowing probably for too much time, right? So if you take that and work it backwards, don't think so much about elite, but say, okay, how many calls can I make in the first hour that I sit down at my desk? If you say I'm going to make 2, so it translates all the way back down to just the basic activities. But if you give yourself a whole day to do prospecting calls versus 1 hour, you'll probably make the same amount of calls in the whole day as I make in an hour. And therefore, I can do this business very part-time and 6 to 10 hours a week, where somebody says they're full-time, but they're not doing full-time prospect, because they will always allot the time. It's a fundamental law in all aspects of your life. It's like going to the gym. If you got 30 minutes to do the gym, your workout in your 30 minutes is usually better than if you had 2 hours time frame at the gym, right? So I'm just trying to help you understand that if you can put deadlines and time frames onto your prospecting and onto your business, you're probably going to see a better result than if you didn't do those things on a daily basis. And you probably have more free time, because one of the biggest cliches in this business, they get into networking to create more free time to spend with their family. And then most of your leaders that you see, they're running around with their hair all frizzled and they have no free time because they don't put any deadlines or boundaries on their activity. Okay. So that's just a little business talk. So that's a fundamental law called Parkinson's law. The second one that intercorrelates that or links to it is called Pareto's law. It's another law. It's like the law of gravity. Okay. And that's the 80-20 principle. We've all heard about it and we all kind of understand it, but we don't necessarily always incorporate it into our business or into our life or into our actions. So Pareto's law really states that it doesn't matter what you do, 20% of the things you do will produce 80% of the results. Okay. For all the women on the call, I'll give you a great example. Take all the shoes in your closet and you're going to wear 20% of your shoes 80% of the time. Now you might buy the high heels, fall in love with them, order them, they'll sit in the closet. When you go in, you grab your favorite pair next to them. Right? Because it's a fundamental law. It's psychology. It's inbred in us that we will do 20% of the things 80% of the time. Another great example is my parents. My dad's from a huge family, 16 brothers and sisters. and we have all kinds of family functions. And we have this, there's 14 or 15 aunts that always, right, that always having the parties. Well, it's always 3 or 4 of my family members, 3 aunts and 1 uncle, same group. They produce 80% of the desserts. They do 80% of the cooking, and the parties are always at their house. And the rest of us kind of sit back and we're entertained. And no matter where we go, they're cooking, they're cleaning, they're the people that do it because they love to do it. It's their passion. So 20% of the people are going to do 80% of the work. It doesn't mean that the other 80% are bad. That's a fundamental law. So 20% of the things that you're doing every day is producing 80% of the profit that's hitting your bank account. I promise you, right? And probably some of it may be that day a live video, but other times that's probably not one of the priorities that's creating the revenue if it's a distribution business. Creating a new customer, finding someone that's open to listen to a presentation about the business, getting people connected to other people that are working their business and are wanting to achieve profit, they're probably going to produce 80% of the results you have. The other things are just things that we do when we have time to do it. So I've learned over the process that if I want to run a successful healthcare company, build a real estate business, and do Modere, I couldn't do a lot of the things that I watched the other people that I was a partner in and the other elites do. I had to prioritize my time, right? I had to find ways to do it inside of the time that I allotted for it. So I had to create a deadline, and I had to focus on the 20% of the things that produce the business, okay? So there are fundamental laws in business that successful people that are CEOs of their company have to do. And I hear people all the time talking about being the CEO of their own life and building my own dream style, but that comes from, are you the CEO of your own time? Are you managing your time and controlling it? And are you doing the right things that are going to produce profit for your business that allows you to have that lifestyle? And I see a lot of people doing it extremely well. And then I see a lot of other people focused on the 80% of the things that don't produce any profit or revenue. And then they feel like they're busy, their tires are spinning, and they're wondering why their business is not getting any traction to the next level, okay? So here's what I'll tell you. Write down on a sheet of paper the top 10 things that you feel can really generate profit in your business in the next 2 weeks to 3 weeks. Set a deadline between now and September 30th and say, if I do these 6 things, these 6 priorities, what's the likelihood I'm going to create a result that's going to produce profit? And then how do I take that story and share that with some excitement and enthusiasm with other people that I'm working with, and watch what happens to your business. Watch what happens to your business. Success loves speed, and speed loves simplicity, okay? So in order to do that, you have to kind of develop what I call a business mindset. And I'm not talking about just networking. I'm talking about all across the board. I've learned this from, so certain people are in mastermind groups for networking, and I'm in mastermind groups for business development. And they're always the same concepts. It doesn't matter. I could talk to someone who's 40-year entrepreneur, is a multimillionaire, and they have the same mindset as talking to someone who's elite 3 building a $200 million business in Modere. Because if you're an elite 3 in this business like Sarah and Tony and these people, and you're driving your business, they have expectations for themselves, and that's why they're always on. Because they're building a business, they're building an empire of people, and they're having massive impact by helping people. They have really defined goals of what they want to achieve. And you know that if I walk in there, I probably know that there's a few things that they're driving for this September, because deep down I know where that all falls, right? And that's really how you know that people have developed that success mindset, that business mindset, that they're really working beyond the confines of just being a part of Modere, but they're building an empire and a legacy for themselves, okay? So here you have to put some guiding principles around your mindset. If not, everybody else that's coming in at different phases, they're going to start to break you down. Not only are they going to break you down, they're going to start to change the way you talk to yourself, right? And it happens in our own business. It's not just networkers. You know, we have physiotherapists all the time that tell us why it won't work, or how this machine is not doing anything, or why their schedule is too full, or why this software system is not working, and why our rates are too expensive. So you have to build this business mindset. The way to do that is to put guiding principles in place, okay? And I really feel that this is the conversation Sarah wanted me to share with you guys, but the guiding principle are fundamental. They're laws, they're principles. They should guide every decision that you make, and they should guide the way you think about spending your time, because I didn't join Modere to waste 10 hours a week. I joined Modere to create 10 more hours with my family and to have this legacy income that I could build around that would give me freedom to allow me to choose the things I want to do, but also more importantly, to have experiences like Costa Rica. in November. I'm super excited to go there. I'm excited to go to Orlando and see some of my friends and many of you guys on here. It's an experience, and have it paid for by Modere is a business thing that I do. So I guide my time and I put principles around that. So principle number one, and I encourage you all to write it down. And I didn't just arbitrarily make them. This is from many years of growing and developing business. And we work this into our healthcare business and into our Modere business to make sure that the people that I'm connected with, that I'm locking arms with, are just as serious about the outcome as I am, right? So that I'm really spending time with. Because guiding principle number one is talk is cheap. Execution is what will set you apart, right? It really is. People are going to have excuses. I could have made an excuse not to be on here tonight. We just had a Hurricane Cat 2 come and wipe our whole entire province out. Well, even 3 streets beyond me don't have power, right? So talk can be cheap if you let it. But execution is what will set you apart. People that come into your business that don't have the same mindset that you have at this point in time, they're going to try to tell you all the reasons it won't work. They're going to try to really knock you down about product categories and price points and multi-level marketing and network marketing. And they're not the ones that are going to actually sit down and do the 80-20 principle. So you need to be looking in your organization. If you're a director 1 and above, if you're an elite, if you're whatever, and you're looking down in your organization and you're looking for the people that are executing the little activities daily. They might not have the result, but they're doing the work. Then there's a whole other group that are telling you what they're going to do, but not necessarily doing it. And you got to be able to decipher between the two. It doesn't mean you can't be friends with them, but it's your time. If your time is valuable and important, you want to look for the people that are executing and then go where you're not needed. So go to those people and say, how can I help you continue that execution with the right level of productivity? And together we can get you to director. Together we can get you to D2 or D3. All right. So I just really encourage you to look for execution, look for people. That's what sets them apart. Okay. It's a guiding principle. If you do that, and that will start with you. If you're someone who executes on a daily basis, it will carry over into your organization. Okay. That's a business mindset, and that's no fluff talk. That's just real true stuff. Because the last thing I wanted to do in Modere was to get in here and try to save lives. I did that for a lot of years when I first started. You know, I would try to get in here and fan people back to life and say it's okay, but yet they wouldn't do any execution. They just tell me all the reasons that they couldn't do it and all the things they couldn't do, and they would waste a lot of my personal time, and they would help crush my mindset and take away my energy and lose my enthusiasm for what we have. And I just really encourage you to make that principle number one. Work with the people that are executing and start executing yourself, and you'll see huge results. Okay. Guiding principle number two: launch fast, fail fast, and iterate faster. Now, I had to Google iterate when I first did this process a number of years ago, but iterate just means redo it, repeat it. If you don't launch people fast, it's very difficult to get them a result in terms of profit that makes them excited to change their mindset. Okay. So when you launch fast, for example, a new product category Modere may come out with in September. I don't know. I'll be there to see, but something that they're coming out with, some exciting new things. They're now working as a corporate team to launch this into the marketplace, into their distributors and into the marketplace. Now we have to take that and launch that new product category into our network, right? And we may say some of the wrong things. We may do some of the wrong things. We may mess up a few times and fail, but our job is to then to refocus and launch it again. So if you're launching new social marketers and helping them go bronze, silver team leaders is the ultimate rank to get them to, because now they start to see some daily pay, right? They start to see it's achievable, but it's also something that they can teach, right? So many times we get there and we're so focused on going elite, when the way to get to elite is create hundreds of senior team leaders, right? That's really the secret. And the faster you do it, it starts to compound, okay? So launch fast, fail fast, and iterate faster. We're all going to fail at some things, right? I remember the first time I tried to do a live video, it was backwards and upside down, right? Because I didn't know how to use my phone. I didn't know what I was doing sideways. I couldn't hold it up. And, you just redo them. And so as you start to do live videos or do presentations and talk like this, before I used to have to write out every word. Now, like Sarah, I can have 4 or 5 bullet points and keep this going, because we've gotten to a point where we've done this so many times that we failed at it so many times, we actually got half decent at it. Okay. So really just work on launching whatever you're doing that week and go until you can't go anymore. And I'll give you a great example. There's a new person now, they came into the business and they're like, what do I need to do? And I said, you need to trust that we're going to launch you and help you create a story of profitability. Because What most people don't understand is that your 30, 60, and 90-day story will follow you for 20 years. For 20 years. I'm still saying the exact same story when I started Modera, November 18th, 2016. It's not going to change because it was my story. However, the first time I started this business, I had a crap story. It was terrible. I didn't do anything. I sat in the back. I watched a whole bunch of people. So I got a chance to create a new story. In this business, you can create a new story for yourself by just creating a new 30-day launch campaign and making that your new story, right? The simple story is, I beat around on this for a year and a bit. I didn't do a whole lot. I all of a sudden got my stuff together. I relaunched my business, and here's my 30-day story from relaunch. So at any given time, you can launch and you can create a new story by going Silver Team Leader and creating some excitement and some enthusiasm. That's a guiding principle to business. That's not a network marketing chat or cliche. It doesn't matter. So think about this. How many products do you know that big companies like Procter & Gamble were brought to market and it didn't work? Right? Does it mean they stopped bringing new products to the market, or did they stop hiring new executives that quit and went to a different competitor? No, in business, we have, therapists that we hire and they go through the process and then they decide to leave our little island to go to a big city. We have to go and then attract somebody new and share the same story. So it doesn't matter what business you're in. People are going to come and go, and it's your job to find someone new, wrap your arms around them, and launch that person to success. Guiding principle, okay? Number 3, what I believe to be the network marketing gem, okay? It happens in all businesses, but it's for some strange reason, it seems to be extremely important in our business of Modera, and that's build a killing culture, not a culture that kills. And I repeat that. And then, the word, nobody wants to hear the word killing, but it's really a symbolic word to say you're building a culture that fosters winning and friendship and fun and making it magical and special. And I mean that. That's what people want to be a part of, because I've learned 2 things about this business over the last decade. People want to make more cash flow and they want to be a part of something, period. They want to earn more money and they want to be a part of something. They'll come in and they'll work harder for the mission and for the team and for the people than they often will for their own personal gain, right? So they really want to be a part of something at the beginning. So you got to build a culture that's welcoming to everybody, not a culture that's just all about rank. It's got to be recognizing people for the little things, recognizing people for the activity that they're doing, regardless of the result that it will produce, because it will create little wins that strung together will create a massive result as a community. So you got to recognize people who made 4 tough calls. They picked up the phone and every one of them gave them no. If you're recognizing those little things, if you're building a culture around execution and activity and fun, right, you're going to build a culture that's winning, right? Now, if you build a culture around rank, if you build a culture around drama, around gossip, you're going to build a killing culture. Your business is always going to struggle to take a life of its own, okay? Number 1, the other thing I've learned, and I've learned this a little bit through my own personal experiences, which were kind of humbling when you look back. But if you build a business about yourself and your ego, it's probably gonna do well for a while, but you're gonna get to a point where you're wondering why you can't hit a lead. And a lot of times it's because you haven't allowed for leaders below you to spread their wings. You haven't let them come into their own. Maybe they want to do something a little different in their system. Maybe they want to say something a little different. Maybe they want to do their own presentation. And that's why I'm a little bit adverse to the word team. Right? I love the word team if everybody's on the same team, right? But what I love the word organization more is because as you grow into elite 1, 2, and 3, you really want to foster a mindset of organizing teams, and letting other leaders shine. And I can really compliment Justin Prince and especially Tony and Sarah. They allow for teams to develop inside of their organization and foster them and work with them. I've been in this business a long time, and Sarah, you can relate that the cultures that didn't allow for that to happen, they fizzled out. They may have huge success at the beginning, but they built a culture around only the small few. And then that makes it very difficult for people to see where they're going to fit into the larger picture. Modera does an amazing job as a company, allowing people to have diversity, allowing people to have scope, and allowing us to create customers from all different spheres and cultures and ethnic backgrounds and also. So I really feel that we're poised for some tremendous success because of that. Now, if you can take a small group of people and together you form a unified culture, your business will grow to elite, right? So get your core group together and figure out, what do we want? Do we want to make this all about fun or meetings or presentations and develop that culture that's winning and the recognition that's winning as a group, and you will see your rise to elite. I mean that. That was a very tough lesson for me to learn. I beat around a lot about that. And you have to be patient. Your business is either going to grow at the speed of you or it's going to grow at the speed of the leader. You can't force someone to lead, right? You can't force someone to lead. When the timing is right for them to lead, you have to be there to run with them. And that's sometimes the hardest thing. Like you take someone like Sarah and Tony, they're at any given month, there could be 5 people that say, I want to run this month. Well, where were you last month, right? But sometimes that's hard. And we just have to then organize our time to make sure that you're there to help that person to really grow. In your organization, it doesn't matter if you're a team leader right now, there's people on your team to lead. That's why it's called team leader. You can work with them, one person, and create an organization. You really can. You know, when you get into director, it doesn't mean that we're supposed to take out our wand and direct, right? It means we're supposed to allow them to go back to their team and start to direct some things, right? And we all fall victim of it. And that's why it's launch fast, fail fast, and iterate faster. Once you start to catch yourself in management mode, you have to turn around and go back and say, it's time for me to go find a new person to develop. And that's what we all do. And we have to go through that at different phases. And you see it all the time with the great leaders inside of this business, okay? So build a killing culture, not a culture that kills your business, right? Okay? That's a huge one. I've learned that, okay? And I'll tell you a little story, not to ramble on, but I'll tell you a story inside our healthcare profession. A lot of times I have to go to the clinic and the clinic will get a very stale. We have 6 or 7 clinics now. So each clinic is different and it has its own culture. Even though it's inside the culture of our company, each clinic has its own culture fostered by the people that are there. You're going to have a whole bunch of little cultures in your own organization and you have to be able to let them foster themselves as well. So it's not all about what you create. It's about the cultures that other people in your organization want to foster and grow. And that's how you build a successful long-term reoccurring business, long-term, okay? Now, number 4, the one everybody hates. The one everybody hates, right? Numbers never lie. They just don't. Numbers don't lie, right? So as hard as it is, it doesn't matter. When you start to become the CEO of a business, it doesn't matter what people tell you. The numbers will paint the story. And if you're able to read through the story, you'll find out whether or not the person was productive or not, or if they were saying the right things or not. But numbers just don't lie. You know, if you talk to 2 people and sponsored 1 person in 9 months, your business is probably not set up for success. It just doesn't lie. Now, here's the thing. If you talk to 100 people in 30 days and didn't get success, it's not the numbers. It's probably something to do with what you're saying or one of your tools. That's easy to tweak, right? It's easy to work with someone who's executing the right activity because we know they won't run out. We can just perfect what they're saying and get them to get connected. But you can't change if the person's only talked to 2 people, done no live videos, had no communication with anybody in 6 months and wondering why their business is receding. What you do duplicates, right? What you do, they did. What they did, they did. What they did, and your business has no activity. Okay, so if you know that in any business, and here's what I encourage you to do, look at your own personal finances. If you spend too much, and if you spend more than you make, you're probably using credit cards. If you're using credit cards and you're not paying them off, you're probably going in debt. Numbers don't lie. They just don't lie. If your bank account is increasing, your cash flow is increasing, you're spending less and there's a surplus, numbers just don't lie. So you get to really choose how you manage your financial picture with Modere, but you also get to choose how you do your work. So my suggestion all the time is if you know numbers don't lie, you can break down what it takes to go bronze. Some will have an amazing skill. They can talk to 10 people and get 5 customers. Others are going to have to talk to 50 people to get 2 customers. The bottom line is you're still going to come out with the customers. So if the numbers don't lie and you're tracking it, right, then your business is going to move. Now, if we relate that to a big picture, and I know it's dry and boring, but if you relate to the big picture of distribution, that's what big companies do. They're going in, and if there's a product that they brought and put on the shelf and they come back 3 weeks later and nobody bought it, the numbers don't lie. They didn't either do a great job at launching it or advertising or marketing. Now they either got to put up a display booth to get that to move, or they got to create more stories, or they got to get someone with more influence to make that product come to life. So our business is no different. If we're not getting the traction we want, it's not getting traction from us, look down in your organization and find someone who's got some traction and use their story and see if it creates a little bit more influence, a little bit more activity, more eyeballs and questions for you. But numbers don't lie. Okay, the less people you talk to, the less money you'll make. Okay, so here's a little thing that I want you to understand if you can see big picture. If you are fortunate enough to grow an organization of 100 people that like you, that want to hang out with you, that want to have friends and friendship with you, and then want to do this business, that's the ultimate goal, 100 people. Now, if 100 of you guys are committed to talking to 10 people a week, 10 people a week, 100 people. That's a lot of people consistently. Like, it's just simple numbers, but numbers don't lie. So little challenges in your group to say, why don't we all talk to one new customer or one new person today for the next 5 days and have a little accountability group. Those numbers are going to determine a ratio for you. And here's what I really want you to understand in business. It took me years to figure this out. But when you do something consistently enough, a ratio will appear. It'll appear. So if you talk to 10 and you're getting good at it and you're saying the right things, you'll get 2 customers. The ratio will appear, right? And then you can teach other people that. And then you know that with conviction that you have a business that can work and it's guaranteed. The problem is a lot of times we spend way too much time watching other people and other people's videos and other people's lives and other people's trainings that we don't then turn around and execute some of the things that we're saying to do the activity because there's not enough time. And that's where Parkinson's law comes in and Pareto's law. Okay. You see how I'm sort of tying it together for you. And then the last one of a guiding principle for business. If you truly want success, if you want Modere to pay you the lifestyle that you came into this business for, if you want to take trips and travel and do all those fun things you talk about, then the guiding principles of building a business, you have to learn to pick your battles. Right? You can't micromanage a volunteer army. You just can't. You're going to die trying to do it. You know, people are going to show up when they want to show up. They're going to go to barbecues when they want to go to barbecues, right? All you can do is you can look at what you're going to give to this, the time that you're going to allocate to it and the consistency you're going to put in. And then you're going to work with the right people and you're going to pick your battles. Some people are going to say things to you that are just going to irritate you. And sometimes you're just going to have to let it go. You're going to have to pick that battle because most other days they're probably a rock star with you, right? Some days there's going to be people that give you drama and talk about other people. You're just going to have to walk away from it, pick your battle. Sometimes I just don't even respond. You know, in this business, there's going to be people do amazing things. There's going to be people that go, I can't believe they did that, right? And I learned that in business is that, you know what, if, on the bigger scale, how is it going to impact you, your mindset, your business on a bigger scale, and learn to pick your battles about what you want to create confrontation for and what you want to promote. And that has served me well. And just little things all the time in our business. Someone may go out and buy $300 worth of ink for the printers when they could have just ordered 20. And I say, okay, you know what? They made a mistake there, but look at all the great things they did. And you just pick that battle. I mean, that's a weird excuse, but I'm just saying to you is that some people might not show up to the meetup that you have that you worked your butt off, but yet they came to all the other events. Don't go create drama and all these things over that one thing. Pick your battles in the bigger, because this is a volunteer business where you guys are a community and you're getting together to build some things, okay? And then the last but not least is I want to talk to you about wealth. Not enough people talk about wealth in this business. I'm in Modere to create wealth, by the way. I love my friendships here, but I'm here to create wealth for my family. I live in a little tiny island. We have a great life and a great lifestyle, but I want wealth that scales. Okay. So an internet-based business, I'm able to use the internet as leverage to scale your business. You're able to use people in different markets to scale product sales. And that's what I'm here for. So wealth to me, I've formulated a definition of wealth for my family over the last decade and a half. And it's how many days can you live without a paycheck? So if you were like me and I was a physiotherapist and I'd go to work and I would turn over my sheet, there'd be 20 patients, I'd see them, I get paid. That wasn't wealth. So I ask you guys, the true definition of wealth is how many days can you live without a paycheck? Are you 1 day wealthy? Are you 1 week wealthy? Are you 1 month wealthy? Are you 1 year wealthy? Right? So in order to create wealth, a lot of times you have to create reoccurring income. And if you can help people see that, if you can really sit down with someone, instead of talking about all the trim and the products and all that, if they're interested in the business, really talk about the concept of wealth, right? Cash flow plus equity equals wealth, but wealth comes from reoccurring income. And so many people work so hard that they'll trade time and they'll get profit, but they won't get it reoccurring. And I'll give you a great example. I mean, no disrespect to the real estate profession because I love so many people, but they work all evenings and weekends showing houses. They create sales. They can only sell so many houses per year. And at the end of that day, they collect their check from the sale of the house. They give a percentage to their broker and to their team. And now they're back to zero. There's no reoccurring income. They have to go sell that many houses again next year and that many houses again next year. I wanted a model that allowed for wealth, reoccurring income. And I mean this wholeheartedly. So if you got 100 people that are reordering and they love product and they love Modere and they love the culture, but they don't want to build the business, why are you trying to force them to do things they don't want to do? You're going to impact your reoccurring income, right? That's why we all do this. My ultimate goal is to figure out what's your number. What's your number? The first thing my wife and I said is that if $2,500 a month is basic needs for most people, and what I mean that is that's a very modest roof over their head, a low budget for groceries, some clothes so you don't run around nude, and some medication for dire needs. That will $2,500 a month will barely get you that today. That's basic needs, right? So in order to have just basic needs, you need to produce a D1, D2 income. But a D1, D2 income in Modere will give you basic needs. Now, if you want security, we usually double that. And all you guys can do your own number, but if $5,000 a month coming in covers your basic needs plus security, so a little bit for insurance, a little bit for your car, for gas, a little bit more lifestyle, what will produce $5,000 a month for you? Usually a solid D3 E1 business is going to produce a $5,000 a month recurring income. And for all elites on here, you can just nod your head. That's true, right? Now, what would a $5,000 a month recurring income do to somebody's wealth? Their wealth, right? It will give them a whole ton of options, okay? Then you can turn around as an elite and go back and say, I want to help 2 other people go elite. That's how you go elite 3, right? 2 or 3 other people do what you did. Now you can look at wealth in terms of, now I can look at $10,000, $25,000 a month incomes because I've got my basic needs and my security looked after. And that's really how you change and impact people's lives in this business, is you find out what their number is. How many days can they live without a paycheck? And if they can't live a whole lot of days without a paycheck, they need this business. Doesn't mean they want it. It means they need it. Now, if you know they need it, the whole conversation's easier. Are you interested to look at it? If I showed it to you, if I showed you what I'm doing, if I showed you how other people are having success, and we can really break down exactly what it is you need to do to get some stability in your life, would you do this with me? That's a whole different conversation, because now it changes from you trying to sell them on networking and Modere to this person genuinely can help me. This person could be the person that can give me basic needs, that can give me some financial freedom. And one thing I'm learning more and more and more is that every conversation I'm having, it doesn't matter how successful you think somebody is. They may not be, they may have nice houses and cars, but their wealth is significantly impacted. They can't live paycheck to paycheck. And so therefore Modere can become something that's low risk, cost effective, very supportive for them to add something to their life. And that's how we're able to open conversations. So that's going to start with you first understanding what is your number, what are you looking for from this business, not rank. Rank is great, but rank comes with an income, and an income comes with a story, and a story is what's going to change people's lives, okay? So remember this, what reoccurring income stream are you looking for? How much? And then what rank do you have to get to sustain? Will that make that for you? Start there and work backwards, okay? And then space and repetition. Space and repetition, okay? Probably the biggest lesson I learned in this business is the longer you go without talking to people, the more space between your daily activities, the more fearful and frightened you become, the less you'll do. So if you're going to sit down and do some work that day, put a list of 10 people in front of you and just repeat it until you get through all 10, and all of a sudden you'll do 100 that day. But if we wait too long between the days we talk to people, too long between the minutes we talk to people, the longer the space, the less you'll repeat, right? Now, here's what happened to me. This is just candid. This is honest candidacy. I went elite very quick. I'm still elite, right? But I'm not here making excuses. I know exactly what happened to me. I'm not upset about it. I know what happened to me. So I minimized the time where I have to go back again. But what happened to me is I put too much space between I launched new people. It came down to a recruiting thing for me again. So I knew I had to refocus on, when I went through my numbers, because they don't lie, I didn't do enough recruiting. When I did recruiting, I didn't launch them. I didn't allocate the time to launch the new person I brought in, and they got caught up in the mainstream and nobody ever really got the result, right? So you have to minimize space and repetition if you truly want success in the numbers of this business, okay? And they're just fundamental guiding principles. I won't go on and on and on, but I really want you to understand if that's a business mindset of how you build a multi-million-dollar home-based business in Modere that can not just transform your life, but also your lifestyle and the lifestyle of a lot of people. One thing I'll tell a lot of my friends when they ask me, why do you still do this business? I usually answer them, because I don't want a lifestyle like yours. It's very simple. And they're like, what do you mean? I don't want to work every single day with no chance of reoccurring revenue. When I pick up my phone every day, you know what I look at? I look at TELUS, who makes a reoccurring $100 a month income for me. When I turn on Netflix, I look at Netflix, who makes $11 a month reoccurring income on me. When I open up my Bell Alliant, I look at the Bell Alliant making $225 reoccurring income on me. When I go to the grocery store, I look at Sobeys in Canada, making $225 every 3 weeks reoccurring income on me for distributing other people's products. So I just made this conscious effort that I wanted to be on the other side of the distribution network myself. I wanted to take somebody else's products like Modere, and I wanted to create a network of people who every single month they use their phone and they order Modere products, and I can earn from their efforts. I can earn from their consumption habits for once, instead of making everybody else earn from theirs. And I just flipped that mindset. And when I flipped that mindset, I'm super proud to be a part of Modere. And that's how I'm able to go through it. Now, do I have faults? Do I go underground a lot? Sarah has to pull me out and find me? Yes, purposefully, but I do. You know, but I'm also very candid, and I want you guys to understand this. I never proclaim to be full-time. I love my part-time story. I'm very consistent, but I love working this 10 hours a week. And if I can put 20 in, I'll do it. Other times if I put 5. So I build this business part-time and around my busy life, and I'm proud of that. I don't want to be something else other than that at this point. Maybe one day I will. So once you understand what you want from Modere, right, then your job is to be not to impact what somebody else in your organization may want. Maybe they want to go full-time. Here's my suggestion: get them connected with full-timers. Don't make it about you. If you want part-timers, connect them with me all day. You want full-timers, I'll get you connected to a ton of full-timers. You can work that business around. You got to find out what that person wants from their business, and then be a business partner to them up to that point. And then, like a little dove, set them free. If you don't give them a chance to go and fly on their own, you're going to crush their results. You're going to limit, you're actually going to be, a lot of times the elites limit directors from getting to elite. And Sarah may or may not agree with that. I hope she does, just not if you do. But it's just, I'm just being honest. A lot of times we do, because we want it so bad, we're just channeling them in this one direction. We didn't give them a chance to go and explore and launch the way they want it to do. When they fall, be there, pick them up, bring them back into the herd, and then we work together again. But give people a chance to go out and be themselves and have their own goals and their aspirations. Let them run their own organizations. It's not going to hurt you. And then when they come back around, they're still going to follow, right? They're still going to follow. And here's a great example. Many people are in Modere, the legacy team now, right? But many people are in that organization, but they all have their own organizations. But we all still go back to see what the content and what Sarah and Tony are doing, because they're consistent. So people won't leave the den forever, but it's okay for them to go out and look for their own food. Okay. And that's just a business mindset. I will tell you, don't be afraid. They're not going to run away. Some people are going to crash and burn, but you have to have faith that you have the strength to recruit new people into your business and launch and grow new people. And then they will come back around, and your business will flourish when you hit momentum. Okay. So I'm probably over my time, but one pager is amazing what we can do with one pager. I look forward to getting a chance to meet all of you guys in Orlando. If we haven't met yet, come up and say hello, have a conversation. I do this business to meet people, and I have this old philosophy. I want to be able to go across Canada one day, in every town and every city I know somebody in. That's a fun thing to do. I want to be able to have real relationships with people all across this country and all, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. And then you can have lasting long-term relationships. And as you build friendships with people in this business, and you do to others, then you're going to have somebody that pops up in that market that they're going to be willing to help you with. And we missed that at the beginning. When I started years ago, I was like, no, you don't come in. I still make the joke that I planted a flag in Halifax, stay out, Cindy Ellen, right? But I have this thing, I joke, but realistically, if you have a group of people like ourselves all rising towards elite and you're working together, you can build organizations in other cities by plugging them into their culture if you trust those people and if you have good relationships with them. And that's what it really means to be a part of the bigger picture. And that's why I try to just really tell people, embrace the mission of Modere. If you embrace the mission and the vision of Modere, then figure out, if Modere wants to be $1 billion company, how much do you want to contribute to its efforts? And then you're able to build a real good, solid business around this, and you'll be able to have long-term recurring income and live that lifestyle that everybody talks about in this business. And, a lot of people have, and you can have it too. So I hope that helps. I'm going to tune out. I talked too long, but look forward to talking to you all very soon in Orlando. Bye for now.